any thoughts about the game?
I think it's a Squid Game night, boys. That's what I...
Hello and welcome to Monkey Knife Fight Live, folks. We're joined by Joe Dolan, but instead of talking Monday Night Football, we're talking Thursday Night Football. And now I just want to give a little ode to Joe here. He comes onto the show, always gives out great picks, great advice. He's a diehard Phillies fan. We saw him in the Philadelphia Flyers jersey on Monday. Now we're rocking the 76ers hat. And we just got to give him a little bit of time to get something off his chest. So, Joe, open forum, buddy.
You mean my thoughts on Simo the Savage?
Ben Simmons.
So did you see this? Did you see this? He put his home up for sale, and he has a big neon sign in his basement that says Simo the Savage, which is his like Call of Duty gamer tag.
At this point, it's almost like you just have to embrace it because everybody freaking hates you. Like Joel Embiid is my favorite. We talked about it a little bit before coming on the show.
He's not built for that, though. He's not built for that.
He's just like, too soft. He's too soft.
Connor was trying to say, this is where Masai swoops in. And I'm like, come on, Masai, swoop in. Swoop in.
I'm looking at, okay, as a Raptors fan, as a guy that lives in Toronto, you just lost to the Washington Wizards by like 20 points on opening night. Not to knock the Wizards, but it's the first time they play a game. And the buzz around the city for that Raptors game was palpable. Like, they haven't played at home in over a year and a half. Like, and you go and get smacked. Oh, man.
It was a good night in Philly sports. The Sixers went down to New Orleans, sans Zion, of course, and just ran them out of the building. And, the Flyers ran the Bruins out of the building. So
yeah.
It was.
No, that was a big one. That was a statement game because the Bruins were one of the only undefeated teams left in the NHL. But now let's shift gears. Yeah. We've covered the NBA. We've covered the NHL. Let's talk the NFL. And folks, we got, maybe not a barn burner, but it should be an interesting matchup just because of a couple key stat lines. One being the Browns have allowed 35 plus points in 2 straight games. So that spells pretty good news for Teddy Bridgewater. Another thing that Broncos Nation should be pretty hyped on is the Broncos are 24-6 all time against the Browns and have won 12 of the last 13 meetings. But have no fear, Browns fans. You don't have Baker Mayfield. You have Case Keenum, who, when playing with Kevin Stefanski as a starter in Minnesota, was 11-3. Yeah. So there is a little bit of hope.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
I mean, look, Case Keenum is one of the best backups in the NFL. The problem is he's playing with all of the other backups too. That's the issue. It doesn't look like Odell Beckham's going to play, by the way. He's a game time decision. He could. Looks like Jarvis Landry could get activated for the Browns. There's something. But Dearness Johnson, Demetric Felton. Good Lord, your backup offensive lineman.
I was just to your point, with Nick Chubb in the lineup this season, or with Nick Chubb since 2020, the Browns are 12-5, averaging 27.5 points per game. Without him, they're 2-3, averaging under 20 points per game. Yeah. So that goes to show you. And then it's like, okay, but we got Baker Mayfield, heart and soul guy that can go out and get us yards and really fight and keep us in every single game. We saw that in the Chargers game. I don't think Case Keenum, for how good he is as a backup quarterback, will be able to have that presence, especially against a Vic Fangio defense that we saw eat him alive when he was in Minnesota, when Fangio was with the Bears. And that is a well-coached defense. And if any balls go anywhere, Kyle Fuller will be back there. Like he's got to be so accurate against this very well-coached Denver defense. So I got to give the edge to Denver here, and I have to take the less on Case Keenum's line just due to the prowess of that Denver defense. And I think they're going, just the Browns' identity, as I said, without Chubb in the lineup, they haven't been able to move that ball. They haven't been able to put up points, but they have to get that run identity. Kareem Hunt, he's banged up. And what was it, Johnson?
Dearness Johnson is going to start at running back, and then there's Demetric Felton.
Yeah. So what is the Hunt scenario going into tonight? Is he 100? He's 100.
Oh, he's on IR.
He's done. Yeah.
So,
I picked up Johnson because I lost Hunt, and I'm starting him tonight. So
you have to.
I'm hoping that the Browns stick to the script and say, hey, we're a run first team, but it is going to be a very tough tough sledding game against a very good Broncos defense. Joe, what's your read on Keenum here?
I think I'm taking the less too. I think have we seen crazier things happen? Of course. Like, this is a guy in Keenum who he's quarterbacked a team to the NFC Championship game. So he's not a scrub, but that team had Adam Thielen. That team had Kyle Rudolph. That team had Stephon Diggs. That team had Jerick McKinnon coming out of the backfield. And he's just playing with a bunch of backups here. I think the Browns' chances here, and whether or not they can do this is going to be the question. Can they ugly this game up? Mm-hmm. Can they, Teddy Bridgewater, most of his production last week came in garbage time, but he didn't play well for the first 3 quarters of that game. He's had a rough kind of a run of it, going 0-3 over the last 3. So I think the Browns are going to try to ugly this game up, maybe make it a 20-17 kind of ordeal to try to escape with a win here. But the thing with Keenum here is, I wonder, at this stage, given the way we see Baker Mayfield, the way he's been playing with that injury, is Case Keenum a better option? It's possible. Just the issue is, going back to everything, Odell Beckham's probably not going to play. Jarvis Landry is maybe going to get activated off the injured list, but he's got a tough matchup in the slot with Bryce Callahan. If he plays out of the slot, it's just a tough go of it for this Brown offense. I don't think. Maybe the Giants offense last year, when Daniel Jones was throwing to scrubs, was this banged up, but this is a really banged up offense, including the offensive line, by the way. So, and then I have some issues with some of their personnel usage. David Njoku goes for like 140 yards receiving 2 weeks ago, and then he plays a season low snap share in week 6. You don't have receivers. It is an honest question. It's not like I want to get into Kevin Stefanski's face and yell at him. It's just I honestly want to understand the decision making. We think he's better against this kind of coverage. Okay, I just personally, from where I'm sitting, don't get it. How does a guy, when you don't have receivers, go for 140 yards and then play a season low snap share the next week? I don't get it.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. But one thing that I think comes into play with the Baker Mayfield thing is that he is the face of the franchise, right? And I think that Stefanski having that history with Keenum, going 11-3 in Minnesota, there's a bit of comfort there, and I bet you the thought process isn't so much, well, Baker Mayfield, Case Keenum, 1-2, 2-1. No, Baker Mayfield's the better quarterback, but we don't want to screw with the face of our franchise and his shoulder. Especially a shoulder for a quarterback, where I have Case Keenum, a guy that I've coached with success. I just don't see the success translating onto Thursday Night Football tonight against a very strong Denver team. It's a short week. You had the rumors about Baker. You said it yourself. Jarvis Landry could be their best receiver, but being activated in a rush situation off IR. I have Landry on fantasy. I'm not even starting him tonight. I'm staying away from that matchup. Anything Browns passing, I'm very wary of tonight. So I have to go with the less. And then on the other side of things, Teddy Bridgewater, Jason already punched it in for me. Yes, he suffered the foot injury, but when you talk about passing defenses being bad, the Browns, they've given up 14 pass TDs through 6 games this season. So Bridgewater, Cordell Sutton's looked great this season, and Bridgewater's only thrown for less than 230 yards once this season, and that was against Baltimore, and Baltimore really got after him. One thing I am very worried about, I've seen Bridgewater play a lot of football as a Bears fan, and then, with the Saints and whatnot. He does not like to get hit, and he crumbles when he starts to get hit. And if that Browns defense, as you said, can make it an ugly game, Myles Garrett coming at you, Clowney, those are some big names and big guys that like to hit quarterbacks. So if they can get into Teddy Bridgewater's face early, I think the Browns could have success in turning this into an ugly game. But Bridgewater, as you said, he's one of those streaky guys, and he came alive during garbage time last week, eclipsing over 330 yards. Yeah. So I think the Browns need to get in his face to have any sort of hope of shutting down defense, because from what I'm seeing, from how accurate Bridgewater is, and from the Browns defense, he'll shred him if he has the time in the pocket.
Yeah, I'm going to take the less here only because I'm going to say I think they do succeed in uglying this game up, and I think it's their only chance. I think that's what they're going to try to do.
Yeah, well, I mean, what's your opinion on the 50 pass attempts last week, though? Because if you're throwing the ball 38 times 2 weeks ago, 49 times last week, I mean, 230 yards is definitely an attainable number if you're throwing the ball 35 plus times.
But you have to keep in mind the last 3 weeks, they have been playing from far behind. Well, they had a shot to come back against Pittsburgh, but you lose 23-7 to Baltimore. Obviously, you got hurt in that game. You lose 27-19 to Pittsburgh. And then last week you lose 34-24 to Denver, but to Vegas. But that was a little bit kind of fraudulent. The game was 31-10 at the end of the third quarter. I'm going to tell you something. I don't think this game is going to be 31-10 in favor of the Browns at the end of the third quarter. I'm just going through. I'm just going through the game log here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 pass attempts in the fourth quarter for Teddy Bridgewater last week.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's
what I was counting. That's what I was counting. Literally going through the game log. So I don't think that's going to happen in this.
I thought you were counting all the reasons why you liked hanging out with me, but it kind of hurt my heart for a second there. All right. Well, you're going to take the less, and then I think that sparks a very good conversation, Jason. If you could pull up the receivers then, because Courtland Sutton. A lot of those passes went to him in the fourth quarter. Obviously, 14 targets last week, 11 targets the week before, playing catch up. But against this Browns defense that I don't trust, I believe his line is under 70 yards right now. I think he needs 69.5. I like that a lot. I like your number one receiver against the Browns team, because even if they do get to the quarterback, those quick slants, those 6-yard slants that he could break for more yards, those yak yards after catch, right? I think those could come into play because he is their number one guy with Jerry Jeudy all banged up. So that's why I'm going to lean towards the more. But yeah, Cleveland has the opportunity to make this a murky game for Teddy Bridgewater, especially with that foot injury.
And they're getting healthier in the secondary. Denzel Ward, Greedy Williams have returned. The Greg Newsome, the rookie. So they're getting healthier there. I am going to take less on Sutton, only because I think that's going to lean into the way I think they're going to play. But I'm not like 100% sure on that, by the way.
Yeah, well, less on the 70 yards, right? Is that where you're kind of feeling?
Okay, so I'm looking at, so we're seeing five and a half receptions, but the yards projection is 57. Okay, all right. Okay.
It is 69.5 is the correct projection.
I'm actually, let me say this. I'm more confident taking less on the receptions than the yards.
Yeah, I think he's going to get the yards, as I said, because if that game script does come in, and realistically, that's going to be the
play. He's been doing
exactly. That's what that's what I was alluding to, right? Teddy Bridgewater under pressure, get the ball out of your hands to your number one receiver, 5-yard slants, break a play, yak yards. You could get up there, but yeah, 6 receptions is a lot, especially when you're going through 8 receptions in a catch-up game last week, 7 receptions in the catch-up game, 3 receptions against Baltimore. 6 receptions. He's actually only eclipsed that line 3 times this season in 6 games. So that's actually that's a cheeky line from Monkey Knife Fight, but I'll take the less. Dearness Johnson, running back, has to make his presence known. I don't care what happens in this game. The Browns have to run the football or they are so screwed. So I have to take more on this just because of necessity of usage.
22 carries for 61 yards, type of game. Yeah, I could see that happening for Dearness Johnson. They are going to, this is a guy who's a grinder. And it's gone up, by the way. The projection's gone up. So we see where the action's coming in here on the more, up to 60.5. If you want that, get it now. Is the way I'm looking at it. I agree. I think I don't think they're going to come out and start looking like the Don Coryell offense out here. I think Dearness Johnson's going to get the football. They're going to try to go 3 yards at a time slow the game down. I think Dearness Johnson certainly goes up and over this.
Yeah, I'm completely with you on that. And let's talk OBJ because he's on this slate. And then one thing, folks at home, that I need to point out for you: have no fear. If you're feeling great and you put $100 on this little contest and OBJ doesn't play, you don't lose your money. If any one of the guys in the contest, but any one of those guys with a little first aid box top in the right corner there doesn't go, you get a full refund, full reimbursement from Monkey Knife Fight. So have no fear. So let's talk OBJ. If he's in the game, I feel like they're going to have to get him involved.
Yes.
So I feel like, honestly, 55.5 yards. If he plays, I'm going to take the more.
Yes.
Just because he's OBJ, but I don't think he's going to play. So, but
No,
if he does play,
either,
if he does, I have again. I thought the Browns' offense was very explosive going into this season, so I tried to target a lot of Arizona Cardinals and Browns players in my fantasy team. I have Odell Beckham Jr. He is not playing on my team tonight. I'm not risking the possibility of him playing, but if he does, folks, the more is the play. Case Keenum, he's the number one guy there, and you know what? Sometimes we just talked about it with Cortland Sutton. Sometimes your number one guy has to go and make a number one guy kind of play. Noah Fant, he had some buzz going around him coming into the season. Some people saying he's overperforming. Some people saying he's underperforming. To me, he's just Noah Fant, and he's a pretty darn good tight end. 4.5 receptions coming from Teddy Bridgewater against a defense that I think is going to be sending the blitz. Well, a tight end, a safety valve, is a good guy in blitz beaters. So I'll take the more on that. I actually think he'll get right around 5 receptions.
So we have Noah Fant over the last 3 weeks with Albert Okwuegbunam on IR, the backup tight end. 10 targets, 4 targets. 4 targets was against Pittsburgh, who has Minka Fitzpatrick, by the way, and 11 targets. I think the more is the bet here on Noah Fant.
Yeah, I was looking at the previous 3 weeks too, and I'm seeing 9 receptions, 6 receptions, and obviously 3 receptions. And you mentioned Minka Fitzpatrick. He's pretty darn good at shutting down a big target, anyone's big target, really. So I think I'm with you on that. And this one kind of makes me excited because I really like this. Other than the question marks surrounding OBJ, folks, select your buy-in. The 6 for 6 is 40 times. Oh, you guys could be loving Thursday Night Football on Monkey Knife Fight just like Joe and I. Look at that, $10 to win $400, and make sure you get on that Johnson line, as Joe said, because that thing just keeps creeping up slowly. And there's also individual contests with him as well. Joe Dolan, final thoughts, Monday Night Football, or Monday. See, I see your face at automatically Monday Night Football. Thursday Night Football.
It's Thursday.
It is Thursday Night Football. Any unlikely touchdown scores? Any thoughts about the game?
I think it's a Squid Game night, boys. That's what I think. I think if I'm going for an unlikely
mic drop reference,
Dimitri Felton would be my unlikely touchdown scorer if there's one.
You know what? It's not bad. He's their third down back. He got a bunch. He's been producing out of the backfield a few times this season. You don't have Kareem Hunt. You don't have Nick Chubb, and a safety valve for Case Keenum on third down. I like the play. I'm gonna go with a sneaky one. I'm gonna take Case Keenum on a QB sneak.
Yeah.
I think Case Keenum is gonna fight tooth and nail for Stefanski. There really is something to be said about a duo in any sport where a coach and a player, where a player like a quarterback has the ability to that outcome over a game. And when a coach and a quarterback are on that kind of vibe and they have that much confidence in each other, it's a good thing. And 11-3 in Minnesota 2017. I know I'm talking about Case Keenum and Kevin Stefanski. I'm not talking about Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, folks. But for Thursday Night Football's sake, Case Keenum, I think tonight is going to come out and just ball out, play his heart out. Whether he throws 8 interceptions to this strong defense is completely possible, but he's going to fight tooth and nail for every yard. I like Case Keenum. QB sneak, get stopped. Keep those legs churning and get over the goal line. Final predictions for the game, Joe?
17-13 Broncos.
17-13. We're liking the under. Yeah, I think the Broncos might be able to open this up if they're on the field enough a little later. So 21-14 is where I'm coming in. I think the Browns offense sticking to the run. They'll break a couple and get Case Keenum, as I said, will definitely make sure they get on the board. But Broncos are a deeper team right now that I'm just seeing less injuries. Also, what did you think of Squid Game? Because that reference, like, I just have to mic drop, get this out of here.
It was really good. It was really good. I was just saying, like, I might watch something else tonight. I thought it was good. I like the old man memes that are out there. But no, I'm not spoiling anything on here. But no, it was the kind of show that, like, I think I love about Netflix. I always love when they drop a show that everybody watches all at once and talks about. So no, the wife and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, well, here's a fun fact for you, Joe, just to take this to the bank. That script actually was written in 2008, and they finally got a production company to produce and put money behind it. There's a fun fact for you. And another fun fact, if I could put anyone in the Squid Game, I'd put Ben Simmons in it, just for you. Just for you.
All right, I'm not going to go that far, but...
And that's the sign-off of the show, folks. I'm Connor Rowntree. That's Joe Dolan of Fantasy Points, folks. We'll see you next week for Monday Night Football. Again, remember to hit it hard and attack that Johnson line when you can.